Dude, this is so nerdy it hurts. So, I had follow-up.
You do? Oh, good. Okay.
No, I don't anymore. I'm over it. I think the only thing I wanted to mention is that the last time we recorded, we mentioned Tiago Forte. And since then, it's one of those... What's that bias when you see something and then you see it everywhere?
Confirmation bias?
I think it's confirmation bias.
Maybe.
No, I need to check. Sorry.
It's frequency illusion, or Baader-Meinhof phenomenon. The frequency illusion is that once something has been noticed, then every instance of that thing is noticed, leading to the belief it has a high frequency of occurrence, a form of selection bias.
Yes, that's the other one. I was actually thinking of selection bias, but frequency illusion is the one that's
the subset?
Happening. I guess so. I don't know. Is it a subset or... Yeah, it's a subset. Yeah. Anyway, Tiago Forte popped up everywhere on my radar, and he was a way bigger deal than I thought he was. Yeah, so he's been around for a while, and the reason I found out about him is actually through digging some of the Rome stuff, which we can get into later. But there's a bit of a tiff between Connor, the creator of Rome, and Tiago Forte.
Oh yeah,
like a little bit of a rivalry going on the Twitters.
Oh no,
it was fun to have some popcorn and observe.
I completely missed that. What were they arguing about?
Basically, that Tiago Forte built this entire course, and he's got this training program and everything that you can subscribe for. You pay for it, you do his training program, and he teaches you how to be productive. And he basically has this philosophy of the tool doesn't matter.
Okay.
So you set up systems and you use existing tools, and then he has some recommendations like Evernote and Notion and so he'll recommend tools, and ways of working with all of these tools, and then kind of help you find the one that fits with you, because no one tool works really for everyone. But Connor is of the belief that that was true 2 years ago, but now Rome is here.
Wow.
And it's the one tool to rule them all.
Sure, fine, okay.
Yeah, so I don't know, it might be a grandiose claim. Yeah. It is an amazing tool.
It is good.
But basically it just says, Connor, I guess I'm oversimplifying his argument.
Yeah, that's probably fair.
His argument is that most of the tools that we have today were built from the ground up for a hierarchical system. And he argues that no one's brains works like that. Our brains work in a network, in a graph, not in a hierarchical system or a tag system, which was an attempt at solving the problem, but it's not a solution. It becomes a problem in its own after a while.
Yeah. Okay, I can see that.
So it was a very interesting conversation to follow. I think I've got a link to a video of them talking about it in a little bit of detail, like an interview that Tiago had with Connor.
Oh, cool. Okay, we'll put that in the link stuff.
Yeah, I'll go dig out that link. It's in my Rome. Everything in Rome is always like 2, maybe 3 clicks away. Yeah.
Okay. We definitely have to get into Rome. Do you want to try and explain it for people who don't know? You're the expert already.
No, not even. I feel like every day I'm just scratching a little bit more at the surface. There's just
backstory. I think I was the one who discovered it somehow on some Twitter thing, and I mentioned it to you during the recording of what must have been episode 14?
I think it was 14, yes.
Yeah. So then you checked it out, and in 15 you mentioned that it might be close to what you were looking for. It's not everything you're looking for, but it is on the right track. And at that point, I've also only dabbled in it. And I think now both of us have used it at least for a good amount of time. So we've got a better opinion. It's basically, if you strip it down, it is a text entry place, right? It's like OneNote or Coda that we used quite a bit, or Evernote, or whatever you have, except that there's no structure defined in it. Everything is defined by a link to anything else, and based on the links you get a really powerful graph that shows connections between things that weren't very obvious at the start.
Yeah, I think that's a good explanation. I think the only thing to add is I think the tagline that they have for the tool itself is actually very, very descriptive. It's just a tool for networked thought.
Yeah, there you go.
That is basically what it is. It's a way of linking thoughts together in a semi-structured manner. I say semi because
it's up to you, really.
It's up to you how structured you want it. Like, as an example, initially, when I started structuring how I want to enter stuff, I was way, way too structured. I used the attributes very heavily. So for each... Sorry, you know what I'm talking about when I say attributes?
Yeah, so...
it's when you type a word and then double colon.
Oh, double colon? I don't know what double colon is. What?
Yeah, so if you go type a word and you go double colon, it actually creates a page like it would for a link page, but it automatically bolds that word, and anything that follows that is linked to that page.
Oh, I see. Okay. That's cool. I didn't even use that yet.
So I used that very heavily in the beginning. For instance, if I added a book, I would have author, maybe status, so reading or read. And what else did I have? Source, like if I have a link to Amazon page or a link to a PDF or whatever. So I did the same for articles, podcasts, videos. I would create the page and then I'll have these set attributes that I add. And I used the actual attributes in the beginning, but then I realized it absolutely clutters up my graph.
That was the issue I was having as well. So when I just started entering data, I'm like, okay, I want to get these things linking to each other somehow. And I basically came up with a system. Let me see if I got a decent example. So most of my stuff I entered were projects that I'm working on or things that I need to maintain. So on every page, I have something is a part of projects, if it is a project. And then it is a subset of or is a child of.
Okay.
That's the other one I seem to be using a lot. So projects is a subset of hobbies. And let's go to hobbies. Hobbies is a part of projects, so they circle link to each other because having a hobby is a project. It's my hobby project. It sounds really confusing, but you click on graph overview and it looks great. It looks amazing.
Yeah, it's interesting that you defaulted to that because that's it's also how graphs work, right? You're describing the relationship with the keyword. That is what a graph is.
Oh, right. Yeah. That was my first go-to. Right
now, I'm a bit more intentional about what I link together.
So wait. You went down the rabbit hole. You're committing to it. You're all in, even with the looming $30 a month price tag coming in, maybe possibly. I did fill in the survey and very strongly put in I won't pay $30 a month. That's never going to happen.
Yeah, I did the same. Especially for me being in South Africa, the rand-dollar exchange is just insane.
Yeah. That price tag will convince me to pay for Coda.
And I mean, to be honest, you can do the same thing in Coda, right? Because Coda, technically, you can rename a page and it's also bi-directional.
Yeah. I don't use any linking in Coda.
Same.
It's not something that's part of my workflow there, but because of the innate structure of it, it's sort of fine. I don't need to link stuff. They live where they should mostly.
The thing is with Coda is I know that if I copied everything that I had in Rome now into Coda, it's going to slow down to a crawl. It won't be usable. Where even though Rome has a little bit of a load time, it's super fast once it's loaded because I'm assuming it loads everything into local storage or something or some local DB.
Yeah, it's really quick.
Right now, the only reason I'm still using Rome is because I can back up my entire Rome database as Markdown files.
All right, yeah.
As well as their JSON format. And I do it manually right now, but I make a backup every day.
Okay.
So I can switch to another tool. I found a few other options since. It's strange how
there was nothing and
now I find things that have been around for many, many years.
Yeah.
And I've been looking, dude, I've been looking into this personal knowledge stuff.
You're the guy who knows about these kind of things. That's like your hobby.
For years. I am not kidding you. Years I've been looking into this stuff.
I fully believe you on that.
I mean, I found all of the ones that are super obvious, like TiddlyWiki and, all of those ones. And none of them really worked for me.
Yeah.
And basically what Roam is what I've wanted to build for so long.
Okay.
I just never knew that the core concept that I needed was bidirectional links.
Okay.
That is that is the simple.
That is the key. Okay.
That is the key. That is the missing puzzle piece. If I'm taking it back to my puzzle pieces.
Yeah.
That was the missing puzzle piece for me. It's just I didn't know that the center of it was. I always knew it's not a proprietary lockdown format.
Yeah.
It's static files.
Yeah.
It's actual image files. It's markdown files or physical files in a format that will be around for many, many years.
Yeah.
And I knew on top of that I need to put a graph. I just never thought of that the way that graph works on top of it is bidirectional links between words.
Yeah.
So now that I know that, I mean, I could just build my own because the core concept's not that difficult actually to implement.
Yeah, we were chatting about it on Slack the other day, and I think both of us came to the same conclusion. It's like the thing I need it for is not that difficult to build. There's a lot of other stuff they do that I really don't care for. You probably use a lot more of their features, but I think even those.
To be honest, I use just the text and the bidirectional links, and I only recently now started using Query.
Okay.
And that was just because I created a shortcut to because if you create a to do, so if you go Control Enter, you turn the line into a checkbox to do item.
Oh yeah.
So that to do inside the curly braces is actually a page.
Oh, okay.
So if you go to, in your search and you type to do, there's a page with all of your to do, which is then linked references. So it's got all of your to dos, right, that you haven't checked off. Same goes for done. But now if you star that page or favorite that page and you open that page in your sidebar, it doesn't show the linked references. So you just have a blank to do. So what I created is a tasks page, which just has a query for to do. And I filter out a few things that I don't want to see. And then that tasks page that I can shift click and it can open in my side pane, in the right side pane. And that then shows the tasks because it's a query. And I mean, that's not my task list that I work from day to day. It's just when I'm thinking I don't want to now switch to, okay, I didn't used to have to want to switch to ClickUp, which is my other tool that I use. But now I posted on Twitter yesterday that I found out that I can embed Roam inside of ClickUp.
Genius.
So now I don't really need tasks in Roam anymore because it's embedded inside a ClickUp, and on bottom right I've got a little add task button, and whenever I feel like, oh, I need to actually turn this into a task, I just click add task, done, and it's in ClickUp.
That is really great. So mind blown when you showed me that.
ClickUp with embedded Roam, I think, is for now as close as I have ever come to the perfect project management system, or whatever you want to call it. It's just I can do my thinking right there. Whenever I feel like this is something that I need to actually do, I create the task for it without having to break my flow, switching to another app or anything. It's amazing. It's really, really amazing. I've never, hierarchical systems and tagging has never worked for me in the past, just because that's not how my brain works. I never know when I find a piece of information where this needs to go.
You end up with loads of just random scratch disks. Like every single tool I use, the first page I make is a scratch disk page, and that's just write things here.
Yeah.
And there's always a process of moving it from that to something else. And then you go, is this big enough for its own thing? Should it live as a subsection? It's always a pain.
It is always a pain. But on that, I actually came across something, and I was briefly mentioned in that video that I mentioned, the one where Tiago and Connor has the little discussion about Roam and ways of working. He I think it was Connor that briefly mentions the fox versus hedgehog concept, which I've never heard before.
Yeah, same.
It was published in 1953.
Very relevant, definitely.
Yeah. It's an essay that was published by the philosopher, I guess it's Isaiah Berlin.
Yeah, looks like that.
Basically, what it boils down to is, nothing is ever this black and white. There's always gray areas.
Okay, cool. That's a good, yeah.
His idea was that if you adopt a fox-like thinking, like if you're a fox, then you rely on various pieces of information to form your own view. And you look at it from different angles and stuff. Most of the time, foxes don't mind admitting when they're uncertain about something.
Okay, yeah.
Because everything that they find and see, it's always in progress.
Yeah. New piece of information. Yeah.
Little piece of information that makes part of the whole.
Okay, yeah.
Where he defines hedgehogs as they develop all of their worldviews and predictions with a central overarching principle in mind. And then they're a lot more confident about their views and how they see things because they've got a coherent, ideal
narrative
system in mind or narrative that they're working towards. And they tend to see a piece of information and know exactly where it needs to go and where to file it. And hierarchical systems just work for them, and tagging systems just work for them because things just always make sense in their ideal.
Ah, I see. Okay.
And I'm not like that.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely
close.
fox-like thinking in this situation.
Definitely a fox.
I was the first one to admit I don't know anything, and that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, I don't know. See, I haven't done enough research about this to talk about this in a confident way, I guess.
Wow, so meta.
I'm still I'm gonna fox it on this one.
Oh no.
I'm still very uncertain about a lot of these things because I literally just scratched the surface of this fox versus hedgehog thing. It's the first time that I've came across it. I don't think that being or having a hedgehog mindset means that you don't admit that you're wrong. It's just that I don't know how to explain it. It's like
I think it's easier.
I think I can't explain it because I'm not a hedgehog.
I could try. I think it's easier for things to seem more certain to you if you know how they fit in really well to your big theme. And if you don't have that big theme and you'd like to think of everything as little pieces, then it's easier to see that a piece might not fit entirely. So you can go, there's some wiggle room there. And if you're that kind of person like I am, if there's wiggle room, that's already questionable to you. You sort of keep an eye on it because you go, I don't even know how I really feel about this thing.
Yeah, this thing might need 500 tags to define.
Yeah, exactly. Like, where's this? Oh, scratch disk. There you go. Okay, but no, it's a cool idea.
Yeah, I found that interesting. So I put it in the notes. It's in my Rome now. Somewhere I'm gonna come across more on it, and then I'll add to it. And it's for the first time I feel like when I'm working with Rome that I'm surfacing my notes naturally as I'm working through stuff, which I've never had before.
Yeah, that's a really powerful thing.
My notes are always just filed away in some system that's, unless you go and look for it intentionally, and if you knew yourself and thought ahead of what you're going to search when you're looking for it, because most of the time, like for instance, when we're looking for the biases now, that's something that we've come across multiple times. I'm sure it's somewhere in your notes. It's definitely somewhere in my notes.
It used to be in my OneNote one, but in the process of moving stuff, I never copied it to anything else. And then I just deleted it. So now my go-to is Google list of cognitive biases for that Wikipedia article. And that's where I went just now to find it. It's not good. That's not structured thought.
No. But I mean, I can see a lot of value in having your notes networked like this.
Oh, yeah. Dude.
There's just so much possibilities.
I haven't even used it that much because I'm really scared of going down the rabbit hole and falling in love with it. And especially because it's pointless to use it on a mobile. And they basically said they're not going to care about a mobile version for a long time. and I don't agree with that because I like to have the information always with me. I used it for about, I think I took a good 3 to 4 hours, and I looked at my Coda and I looked at my OneNote, which is my legacy documents at this point. And I took all of so I went in with the idea of I want to approach the things I work on this year because I thought, wow, it's a new tool, might as well try it. So I put in all of my main areas of focus, and then that led me to the projects thing, which is like, I don't have a good overview of all of the things I'm maintaining. So let me start listing the servers that I need to make sure are working, and then what's running on each server. And then it went, oh no. And then I sent you that graph. It's like, oh. And that it might get into one of our other points of conversation. If not, it's fine. I basically realized there's way too many things I'm maintaining, way too many services. Like over the years, I've built up technical debt of cool stuff I'm working on, and then I've sort of just left them at a place where I'm happy with them.
Right.
So I don't want them to go away, but I also don't want to work on them anymore. And it sort of makes me a little bit angsty because there's so many of them, and seeing that graph of just stuff, I'm like, I need to work on this. I need to find a new idea. And it that kind of thing isn't obvious in any kind of way until you see it visually. That was the first time it ever clicked for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's still early days. I did spend some time to create like an entire dark mode theme for Rome.
Oh, right. I saw that. Yeah, that's really cool.
Because it was hurting my eyes. I've got a second version that's, by the time the podcast goes up, it should have a link to the new one. That's
oh, nice.
Yeah, way better. I basically took ClickUp's color scheme, dark color scheme, and applied it to Rome so that it seamlessly fits into ClickUp. So it looks like it just fits into ClickUp. And the nice thing is, on its own, outside of ClickUp, it actually looks good as well.
Ah, cool. Do you want to give us feedback on the bot revolution?
I didn't make enough time to work on the bot that we spoke about last time.
Which has got a name now.
It does. It is now called Vander.
Because of your surname.
Yes, because of the surname. It's going to do some cool stuff. The first thing it's going to do is receipt tracking and some basic finance tracking for the house. But for now, it's living in two places right now because I started out writing it as Azure functions. And then I was like, I need data storage. I need like a database. And I was like, I know Firebase. Let's use Firebase. But it feels wrong to use Azure with Firebase. So let's also just check out this Firebase functions. And I figured out that Firebase functions works just as well, and it's completely free.
Oh, cool.
The other thing about Firebase functions was that I could get it to debug better in Visual Studio Code.
Okay.
So I wrote a little thing about how it's in my Rome. I should actually publish it at some point, but a whole guide on how to... I'm actually writing more now that I'm using Rome.
Oh, wow. That's...
Because I'm writing as I'm thinking, and then I'm writing the stuff in my own words. When I never used to do that. I used to just make it all note somewhere, and then next time I hit the problem, I'll just go to Google again. Where now I'm actually going to check my Rome, which is, it's weird how that just naturally started happening. Anyway.
That's cool.
I wrote a little guide on how to get the debugging set up with Firebase. So I can have the bots running on the function locally, and then hit a public URL through ngrok or ngrok. I don't know. I never know how.
I think it's ngrok.
Okay. Through that, hit a public URL, go tunnel through to my local, and then actually hit debug points in my code when I send a message on Telegram. So that's very useful. So you can actually see what's coming in. It makes deving with bots just like so much easier.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Firebase functions and not Azure, but that's just me.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, tool that does the job.
So right now I don't have much of an update other than the name, and that the first thing it's going to do is help with finances. I got really into it, and then work got a bit hectic, and then I got sidetracked with the dark theme for Rome, and then I just got... First I got sidetracked just with Rome, and then I got sidetracked with the dark theme for Rome because it was hurting my eyes. And now I'm at a point where if I'm following the rabbit holes all the time, then I don't get any work done. So I need to find a balance between getting lost in Rome and getting lost on the road to Rome. I don't know.
That's fair. I can see that. Okay.
But the rabbit holes have hit a critical mass to the point where I've got a custom emoji pair, like the little hole emoji and the rabbit emoji.
Oh yeah, I've been seeing you use them. Yeah.
I actually have a page in Rome that is those two emojis, because I tag that whenever I start going down a rabbit hole. It's like, oh crap,
that's amazing.
I need to bail. Then I add my little rabbit hole emoji pair,
yeah,
and then I steer away, or
that's it.
I'll schedule some time to go down it a bit later then. But I need to stop myself, because
I like that. That's really cool.
Emoji work all over the place in Rome, by the way.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, fine. I very rarely use emoji in my own docs, but yeah, I mostly use a finger to point at stuff that you can interact with. Like, click this. This is a button that does things.
The only things that I give, besides the rabbit hole emoji pair, all of my projects have an emoji in the front.
Ah, cool.
Because the search in Rome is fuzzy.
Oh, I see. So it's basically a tag.
Yeah. So if I see the emoji, I know it's the project that I'm referring to.
That's cool. Yeah. Oh, I still think it's a good use of the emoji.
Yeah, I don't have it all over the place. I use it strategically.
We learned that in Coda. It's like, oh, you can have emoji anywhere. Yeah, but you shouldn't.
You can.
It looks really bad.
You can have emoji everywhere. You shouldn't have it everywhere.
Yeah. Sparingly is much better than all over the place.
Yeah. But yeah, so basically that's got me. I have to intentionally think about making structured time for going down rabbit holes, because otherwise I'm just going down rabbit holes all of the time. I guess it's like it's just a Fox thing.
I had the same rabbit hole situation a couple of weeks ago with the Now page that we were talking about.
Right.
That sort of feeds into my lack of Jarvis updates. If I were to do a Now page, Jarvis would be the entry point for all of that information.
Right.
Because it'd be really easy to set up like a recurring, say I want to post about the music I'm listening to.
Mm-hmm.
Like every once a week or whatever, you can ask me what you're listening to and I can give it a link. And then that would update whatever data store I use and whatever API I connected to for the blog.
Okay.
So that would all feed into that. So I thought, oh, that's a really cool, nice technical solution. But I rabbit hole, so I'm like, I'm not gonna do a Now page in the near future. Maybe, I don't know. I've as part of the thing I mentioned earlier, I've basically got a code freeze on my projects at the minute. It's like, just leave it. There's too many. I need to get rid of some of them or consolidate somehow. I was thinking earlier today, as I was making the notes in preparation for the show, it's like the easiest thing I can take away is that bot that does the Earth GIFs, because it's also .NET Core, I believe, and it only does one thing. So it would be really easy to put all of that in Jarvis, and that means I can actually surface the GIFs really easily. So it can send it to me on Telegram,
right?
Because it does 3 different services, and then it automatically does a GIF for each of them. So it can send me all 3 on a Saturday, and then I pick the one which is the coolest for the week, instead of just having it post a random one.
Right, and then you actually get to see it.
Yeah, so I can prove what they look like before it just goes up.
Yeah.
And also I can use the function, because it's all in a function anyway. So I can just say to Jarvis, give me a GIF of the last 3 days if there's like a big storm or something like we had a couple of weeks ago in the UK. And then it can make a really short GIF of just those 3 days. And that's a nice way to interact with the data, instead of all of it just being there on a server and I need to manually log in and then run commands and stuff. It's like, I'm never going to do that, which is why I never do anyway. So I thought that's probably the easiest thing to work on, and there's clear benefit. So should the code freeze go away, that'll probably be the first thing I work on.
It's interesting that I think we're thinking in similar veins lately. I actually made a note further down in the outline about that. I actually believe that it's a lot of the time it's not actually necessary to write a bunch of custom software these days anymore.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
You can like piece together an almost perfect system with existing platforms, like a function as a service, like you're using with Azure Functions, or Zapier or Integromat or any of those services. Like, there's very little need for writing an entire app anymore these days. Or it's almost like we're getting to a point where the key players, the best apps in not all of the areas of interest, but in a bunch of them, they have been established and they're really good at what they do.
Yeah, definitely.
And they have APIs. So
it's all open and they all have good documentation and everything's standardized. So it is really easy to glue them together with the functions.
Yeah. And also I've got this tag lately that I'm tagging stuff with strong opinions weekly held. So whenever I make these statements, so in my Rome as well, I've got that as a page.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my water cooler talk topics. So I'll bring those up with people to see what their thoughts are, because I want to be challenged on them. That's the weekly health part, because if someone gives me a convincing enough argument, then I will adopt that into my understanding.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I think for most things that is definitely true, because all of the standard stuff is really good. I've always just been the person that I want to build my own one. Doesn't matter if it's worse, doesn't matter if it has less features. I just want to build it for the challenge, and then I can customize it however the hell I want. So I like that part of it. But yeah, a lot of the things I had going or had running, I just take them away because there's no point anymore, really. And of course, every stupid thing I built is a learning experience to learn something new. That's the whole part of why I started it. So that the value will always carry through, even if I know there's no point in building it.
Yeah. No, I totally agree.
Do you want to wrap up with Observation Club?
Well, as per the norm, I have nothing for Observation Club. So go and I'll well, to be honest, I've been observing a lot just as part of Year of Disposition.
Yeah, I was just about to say, isn't that part of your yearly theme now? How's it work? No, it's fine.
Yes. I observe.
My observation is yes.
What's yours? Maybe I'll figure something out.
Mine is sort of a little bit cheating, but yeah, it's based on your, it's sort of loosely based on your thing about the spaces you work in. I didn't come to that realization or observation based on your thing, but a couple of weeks ago, I was doing I'm still doing the gratitude journal. So I was doing that, and I realized I've continuously been writing in there. I'm really happy with the spaces I work in at the minute, like my room and my office desk setup. And I realized that the thing that was bothering me for so long, and I finally decided to change it, and it literally took 10 minutes to change it. And now there's nothing bothering me at all. So it's that complete mental friction is gone just for moving one stupid thing in my room that I should have done ages ago. So my observation is, if there's anything that bothers you in the slightest, just change it. Just do it.
This is so weird, because I did the exact same thing this week.
Good.
So you've seen what my desk setup looks like with my laptop, and I use my laptop keyboard, and then the horizontal screen above my laptop, and then a portrait screen on the left.
Yes.
So something that's been bugging me for so long is, so when I open my laptop, I put the screen back so that it lines up with the bottom line of
I see. Yeah.
The vertical
one above it.
Yeah, the horizontal screen, so that it's flush at the top.
Needs to be flush, obviously. Yeah.
And I can still see the icons in my tray. So I had this problem where if I'm sitting in a comfortable position by my laptop typing, my bottom screen is at an angle where it goes dark, because
from the viewing angle. Yeah,
the older screens from the viewing angle where you look at it goes darker, so it was dark and was really hard to use my bottom screen. So it took a bit longer than 10 minutes, took about an hour, but I basically scavenged through the house for a piece of wood that I could put at the back of my laptop. I've got one of those stands that you screw to the table that's got an arm that the screen is on, one of those extending arms.
Yeah.
But it doesn't go high enough to the height that I needed for my screen to be at a good viewing angle. And I worked out that I needed exactly 3 centimeters lift.
yeah.
So I got a piece of wood that was exactly 3 centimeters high, like in the house.
Yeah.
Put it underneath my stand. I raised the stand. I screwed it up, and I moved everything just slightly to the left, so my chair also fits in a bit better. And now it's just like it makes such a big difference.
Right? It's just nice. Yeah.
I wish I did it sooner.
Exactly.
But it's been months now and I haven't changed it.
Yep.
I'm so glad I did.
The same. Well, I didn't need to go find wood, but yeah, it's just do it. It's just going to make your life so much easier and you're never going to have to worry about it again.
Yeah. The next thing I need to do is I want to get this, because I live in South Africa, I've got a deep cycle battery and an inverter sitting on my desk. Well, the deep cycle battery is below my desk, but the inverter's on top of my desk. But it's an eyesore. I really don't like looking at this freaking thing.
Yeah, just no.
And the summer was so hot, I didn't want to put it underneath the table on the carpet. So, but now we're going into winter, so I want to move it somewhere else where it's not like in my face. Because I already did like a whole thing where I screwed adapters to my table in strategic places. So I always have an adapter just on the side of my table. You get those adapters with the screw holes in.
Oh yeah. So you can.
I call it adapter now, but I mean multi-plug. Sorry, multi-plug is the right
strip
word.
plug
So
is what we call it in the UK. I've learned. Yeah.
Yeah, strip plug.
I live by the firm rule: everything needs to be plugged in forever. So I've got so many strip plugs, but everything is plugged in. There's no ever bending down to plug something into a socket. It's already there.
Nice.
You can just reach for the wire, plug it in, done.
Yes,
That's pretty good. I got that from Casey Neistat, I think. He did one tour of his studio thing, and he shows the charging area, and there's just a million plugs on the wall for every camera and hard drive and thing you could imagine needs power.
Oh, wow.
And he explained he doesn't like why would you want to struggle with a plug? I mean, it's only a second, but it's still a bit of effort. And I went, that's an interesting idea. So I tried it at my previous place where I lived, really liked it. And since then, I just buy multi-plugs or strip plugs, or I buy like 10 of them when I move in and go, okay, where do I need stuff?
Me and Gareth are in the process of now setting up an office as well. So an actual office.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, we can talk about that next time, because right now we've got the tiles. We've got like a aluminium, one of the stack doors that needs to be put in now, and it's like a whole renovation project. We got whiteboard paint, the whole one wall. We're gonna get prepped now with Greechstone and paint, and then we're gonna make the entire wall a whiteboard.
Oh, cool! Yeah, that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, so really looking forward to that. But as part of that, now I'm gonna be traveling between offices.
Oh yeah.
Now I need to think about, okay, I need another screen there. I was looking at docking stations, but your docking stations are so expensive.
They're really expensive.
So yeah, we'll see what the actual, but it's all part of looking at my spaces and how they work for me. It's going to be nice to actually have an office outside the house again.
It's been a while, right? It's been like more than 6 months, I think.
Yeah, I gave up my office in June 2019, I think it was.
Oh yeah, we might need to do feedback on that next time. Actually, I thought there was going to be a lot more hair pulling out of the situation, but it sounds like you managed to do it okay.
Yeah, June, August. I think I moved out and then back into home office. Definitely keeping my home office for now.
Oh, cool.
It's just nice to have a space at home, because before we built on at the house, I didn't have a door that I could close and then work in.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Because my office was in the garage, which was also the braai room. So it was like, yeah, not cool. But now I have a door that I can lock and, work's done, I'm just going to set up the office in a way where the way it's set up now, I just put on my laptop and plug it into the 2 screens and go.
Yeah.
The screens that I got are those Dell IPS screens.
Oh, nice.
The really cool thing about them it's only the 24-inch one, but the really nice thing about them is, there's 2 nice things about them. They come with VESA mounts.
Nice.
So you can, all of those extending arm stuff, cool things, they fit on these screens. And the other thing is 4 ports. Well, they've got 4 USB ports.
Oh, wow.
2 at the back and then 2 at the back and 2 on the side. And they've got the screen comes with a USB power thing where you send USB power from, not just power, but USB connection from your laptop to the screen. And at the moment, I've actually got it chained to both screens. So it goes from my laptop to the screen and is chained to the other screen as well.
Yeah.
And I'm using one of those USB to HDMI converters.
Oh, yeah.
Because my laptop only has one HDMI port. It doesn't have a VGA port or any other ports. So I have one HDMI port. So my HDMI port goes to my screen, and that screen has a USB to HDMI to the other screen.
Oh, no.
And it works.
That's cool.
And it works. Zero lag.
Yeah.
Everything just works across all of the screens.
That's amazing.
It's no detection problems. The little device, I think, cost like 800 Rand, which is not that bad considering I don't have to buy another laptop with two HDMI ports.
Yeah.
Or a dock that gives you another HDMI port, which is just crazy expensive. No, it's amazing. It's actually, I'm glad I found that little thing. If I can find a link to it, I'll give a link to it. It's a nifty little dongle.